Good evening, everyone. You're listening to another episode of the Tall and Short of It podcast. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Aaron. Welcome back, people.
Welcome back, good people, good Aaron. Good to see you. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. We are recording 8:30 Wednesday night, so we've had some time to through the week to digest from the F1 race and the race companion. So anyone who would like to watch that bonus episode, it is up on YouTube. Feel free to check it out if you're going back through and watching the race. You can hear us talk. So, but I've been good this week, man. How has your week been?
I would say my week has been pretty good. I think we've got a pretty good episode lined up here. Some maybe new topics, some maybe new things for this episode. As always, we're trying to constantly improve and constantly bring new and fresh ideas for you guys. Mainly, race was exciting on Sunday, but the big thing that I want to talk about, me and Aaron have been getting into some Valorant in the last couple of days, in the last week, and specifically in a way that is a bit surprising, wouldn't you say, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. I was not really expecting to jump in like we have with a bunch of people, and I would say that I enjoy this way a good bit more.
Yeah.
And so what we've been doing is we have a group of about 10, 8 to 10 people that we've had a couple of days where we've played some Valorant customs and done best of 3, best of 5 kind of series, just schoolyard picking teams and going through and playing. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really cool thing, and I like not having the pressure of playing with like random people. It's a lot more chill, and I like that aspect of it.
But even at the same time, like it's a whole lot more competitive too. I really think this is where the game shines, where you have all five members in voice and are able to make the call outs, the strategies, the support, and just everything that comes with having, a bunch of people on the same team working towards the same goal. So yeah, it is like you're not dealing with like trolls, you're not dealing with people yelling, you're not dealing with like racists, you're just not dealing with any of the bullshit. But then there is the element of like so it's more chill in that aspect, but it's also more competitive where you have the call outs and everybody is like playing to the goal of like whooping up on their friends on the other side.
Oh yeah, definitely. My when I said more chill, that's kind of what I meant. It's
Mm-hmm.
you're in a more relaxed or comfortable kind of environment because you're like you just get to play. Like no one's worried about someone messing up. Like obviously you want to win, but
Right.
like we're all cool, just kind of vibing, trying to win, having a good time, dicking around with some sprays, a little bit of taunting after kills and whatnot.
Yeah,
Uh,
that air horn thing is pretty funny. It's like a bit of a meme. And what I think is interesting is the like I'll say this, like we haven't seen any like shit talking or like within team butting of heads yet, because like everybody's real new with each other, like we're just trying to be like
I think it also helps that the way that we've set it up with the two captains who are a bit more experienced and better at the game, they seem to do a pretty good job kind of taking the lead on that,
yeah.
which benefits everyone, especially the newer players, with um, figuring out the economy and just like working as a team. I think there's not really any big egos to clash. Um,
Sure.
yeah, and I can't imagine there being a scenario where something would like bring that out.
No, and neither do I. I just can see especially with like the teabagging and some of the air horning, I can just see things getting. Thank you, dear. I can just see things getting maybe a bit heated, especially like I'd say we do this a couple more times, maybe like some little rivalries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, getting a little more internally competitive and all.
Right.
So
Right. The meta could develop, which I mean, I kind of hope it does. I look forward to playing that more. What is an aspect of the game that you've really been enjoying? What do you like best?
um, I mean, I just the biggest thing is with this group, like kind of it gives you the ability, or at least me the ability, to kind of try new things out a little bit. Like
Mhm.
obviously I would like to win, but I don't have a ton of experience on different characters or with some of the different guns. So I've tried out a few different things and not had to worry about getting like flamed for breaking out the sheriff pistol, the deagle, and missing like 5 shots in a row with it or
Right.
anything.
Right.
Like I'm out there just doing it and hopefully not doing too poorly. But I think that's the aspect I like the most, is just being able to like actually learn the game in a bit more in a pretty friendly environment, since I
Mm.
haven't played a ton of it. But
Mm.
I think the
Yeah.
game's really fun.
Pretty much any time that I've put in was with you or has been with you. Maybe I
Yeah.
have like an extra hour here or there, but
Yeah, same. I haven't done too much outside of that. So,
right. But definitely what I've seen of it, I do enjoy. What map do you enjoy most?
probably I forget the map names. I think it's Bind. I
The
think
one
it,
that has showers and the
and
teleporters?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my favorite. I feel like um I'm more comfortable. I think that was one of the first maps that I had played too. So I think that might be why I like it a bit more. Overall, the
Hmm.
maps I think are just pretty good in general. Icebox is the only one that I'm not super comfortable with because there's just so much open space in certain
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
lot of like lines of sight.
yeah, and I suck at sniping in the game, whether it's the op or the warden, I think is the other
Hmm.
one. So I don't like that because I'm not good at it yet.
Right.
But maybe as I get better, I'll warm up to it a little more. So
Yeah, the icebox is a tough one. I think playing defender side helped me. I think playing defender side helped me understand the board better.
gotcha.
Especially with the like cameras at A side and then cameras at B side as well. Like it and all, to your point about like playing Sova is like playing the game on a character you're comfortable with, like not having to change all the time because people are insta locking the one that you know and this and that. So I think being comfortable on the hero helps me then, like you're talking about, like learn about hitting shots and learning about the board and learning about the maps. So yeah, Icebox was a tough one, but I think playing defender side going A was helpful to learn like what the game states tend to look like and where people go. Because like
A is
getting
the one with all the ropes, right?
yeah,
Or
the
is it?
ropes
Yeah.
in like the like warehouse.
Yep. Yeah, that's because it's such a weird layout too, or different kind of layout.
It's like focus on verticality because like you can go up the ramp and then go the long way around,
And there's
jet
so
and
many
sage, go
corners.
up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
I'm definitely like enjoying that, and yeah, really honestly, just being able to learn the game better without pressure. And
Right.
even though there's the uncompetitive I don't know, the unranked mode in the game. I still feel like anytime I play that, there's still people, like, if one person's doing really well, they're like talking shit on the people who aren't doing as well, and it's just, that's gonna happen with voice chat. But I enjoy playing this way much more. I think as we do it more, maybe I will enjoy playing more like the regular game modes a bit more,
Right.
because I'll just be like better and like not
And
a
then you'll hit.
liability.
Yeah. But then you'll also be in pods of better players, because I feel like there's a mentality that goes along with playing or doing something well. Like, you're not really, because like there's an IQ. Yeah, there's like an IQ that goes along with like being good at something, and if you have a higher IQ, you're likely to just be more level-headed, more reasonable, right? So you're not calling people names and like shit talking and this and that.
Yeah.
So then the games are of a higher quality. Like how toxic were like the bronze and low silver games. Like
Right.
it's because nobody's good at the game. They're all assholes. They're all children. But the higher you go, you find like, oh, okay, the people that are challenger are like 25, 26, 27, 28, and are like reasonable individuals.
Yeah.
And that's who you want to play with, I think.
Right. And I think the other thing, that, as opposed to like League, where you can still, I mean, you do get less toxicity around, except for certain points. But I think for Valorant, the fact that it is a 5v5 and like you don't respawn once you die, like in League, like that round's over for you if you die, pretty much. I think that pushes for more communication and pushes for that. So the higher rank in Valorant, I think it will drastically improve the toxicity. But I guess that's to be seen, since I am still super low ranked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way that I'm playing currently, I can tell that I'm probably going to be in this little learning phase for a little while, man.
It takes some
It's a tough
time.
game.
It is a tough game. And honestly, I think one of the biggest helps to me is the fact that I've been playing so much FPS recently with Call of Duty. So my just general mechanics for shooters are a little bit better than if I had just been playing, like you've been playing a lot of like Don't Starve and some of these games that are really not mechanically intensive or like need those fine-tuned movements. So I think that will come back. Like you have that from League, you have that from other shooters you've played. I think it will.
I hope so, because I feel like really rusty. That's the thing. Like, and I think what's the most frustrating is when I get into gunfights, gun battles. What do they call it in CS? Gunfights?
Yeah,
you lost the gunfight?
Yeah.
Is that what the cool kids say? So when I get into a gunfight, and it feels like I've laid shots into the individual, like maybe not in the head, but like I definitely have hit their torso like 3 or 4 times is what it feels like. I die, and then the little report thing that everybody's always so focused on, like 75 on Phoenix, 75 on Phoenix. It's like, well, it says 0, but it looks like I hit them.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes me saltier than anything. It's like, I'm not that bad, am I?
It's tough because there are no hit markers. Like, you don't get hit markers unless you kill the person.
Right.
Like, that's
and the hit marker is like the thing dying.
Yeah, it's their like the blood spray or whatever after they die.
Right, and sometimes you get like the little image pop up if you have the fancy guns.
Right, or like or a headshot or something, like you get a little notification kind of thing. But I think that definitely makes it tougher. I've never played CS, so I don't know if that's the same. I would think it probably is. But yeah, it makes it harder because you can't as easily actually figure out the way the different guns work with their spray patterns, with like the what's the better way to like shoot. Do you want to do single taps? Do you want to do short bursts? Do you want to
Right.
like those things make a difference gun to gun? And so I think that's another thing, just at playing more, like you'll get more comfortable with like how to use each gun too.
Sure.
Which
Yeah,
will make
yeah.
a big difference in that with your shots. So
The other thing that comes up a lot is like aiming when moving and like getting into gunfights when you're moving or like coming out of a corner, and it feels like the movement significantly like widens your spray pattern in a way that's like it feels one-sided a lot of times. Like sometimes it feels like Matt's just like fucking and
yeah.
like just like headshotting, and I'm like standing still, crouched in a corner, and my bullets are just spraying around him like the Neo effect, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's just figuring out like how to and that's also some like I've also taken a little bit of time to practice in the practice thing that
yep,
Valorant has.
yep,
Um
which is
so
really solid, by the way.
yeah, they have a lot of really cool like things, whether it's shooting the little drone airplane things that are flying around or if it's the bots.
Hmm.
I think that is a great tool to be able to figure out how to like shoot while like strafing, like walking to the side and stuff, and
Yeah.
seeing like where things hit. Um, but it's not an easy game, and I
No.
do like that about it, and I hate it about it. Like
Hmm.
I want to be good, but it's tough when the game's just hard. Like
Yeah.
it does have a pretty tough learning curve, especially for someone like me who's never played one of these styles of games. And also, Call of Duty is so easy when it comes to that stuff, like shooting while running, shooting while sliding, like
Right.
all those things. Like I can half the time in Warzone when we drop
Uh-oh.
out of the airplane. Uh oh, did we lose them?
Oh no, you were just it looked like you were lagging a little bit, my bad.
Oh, gotcha. I thought Craig might have dropped out. But
We're
sometimes,
good.
like,
Continue.
half the time in Warzone when we drop out of the plane, like, I can try and shoot someone out of the sky with my pistol.
Right, right. And
Like
you
you're
have like the
moving a lot, and
rollover.
like, yeah, you've got all this stuff going on, and so it's a very different style.
Right, right. And like getting hit, like you stop moving, like you can't run around. Like that's the thing. Like once somebody taps you, like you have to just
You better fight
okay.
unless you're right by a corner.
Yeah, man, it's like it's rough. The play style is so much different than like the games I'm used to, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun element of it. Getting kills on Matt is super satisfying.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. If you do end up listening to this,
Yeah.
you're too good, and it makes me feel great to kill you.
But that's such a like shitty thing at the same time because like perspective wise, like he's only like gold, and Max says like he lost his promos to silver 3, and it's just like okay, so we're really not that far
well,
off.
well,
Like we're
so,
not that far off.
no, no, no. Well, and that actually blew my mind when they said that, because Silver
Hmm.
3 is like Silver 3 is the top. It's a reversed ranking system from League for the tiers. So like Iron 1 is the lowest, Iron 3 is the highest before you get to silver.
Oh, gotcha.
So like he's
Close
silver
to
3
gold
is
then.
like, yeah, right on the edge of gold.
Okay. Sure.
Um but still, nonetheless, it's like I was thinking of these guys as being like plat to diamondish, because I think of the skill gap between me and them compared to League of Legends. And
Right.
in my mind in League, like I could still be a gold player if I decided to put the time back in.
Right.
So I am relating it from there when in reality I am iron in in Valorant, and so the gap is still a couple tiers up to gold,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. There you go.
but yeah, it's honestly just been really fun. I hope that we can keep doing that a couple times a week or something. Like it would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, it's
It would,
fun. It's really fun.
I did not realize how long the rounds can go sometimes though. Last night, man, I I was up past my bedtime.
Oh,
This
dude,
morning
I think
was
we all were. Me and Kyle were talking about that same thing too.
this morning
Where we were
was
like,
tough
yeah.
getting up. And
Hmm.
I have not been sleeping extremely well since I got on my new medicine.
Right.
I think it inhibits that a little bit, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a late night, but it was worth it. It was fun.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it to forge those friendships and forge those battlefield synergies. You
Absolutely.
gotta love the synergy. Speaking of synergy, I would like to take a minute to talk about this episode's sponsor. I'm kidding, we don't have one. That just sounded like a great little,
It
you
did.
know. Speaking of, anyway. But yeah, so that's Valorant 5v5 Custom, something really fun that's been going on this week, and hopefully we keep doing it in the future. Because yeah, Pandem, it just throws all sorts of wrenches. You know, you think you're going to be playing Magic, and then you're not. I think we may be playing this Friday though, so stay tuned.
Ooh, very nice.
Um, but yeah, Valorant's been some fun stuff. I like it.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Hmm.
So I'm happy to actually be like playing more.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so
Riot knows how to make some team-based games. It's good stuff.
they do, but they're not taking my money on this one. I
Yeah.
I
Honestly, okay, let's talk about that. Why not? Like why did it feel okay to do it with League?
so for
Like why did
me,
this game feel more valuable on for the champions than it does for the guns?
a big part of it was time invested. So like I had spent I mean when I first started playing League, I didn't buy skins really. Like
Sure.
I
Yeah.
maybe had one or two. I think I bought my like the Taipei Assassins Ezreal skin kind of earlier on, but
Right.
other than that, I was not. It was a free to play game. I wasn't paying money to play for a while. Once I had invested that much time and knew that it was a game I was going to be playing for a long time, I also realized that I wasn't spending money on other video games. Like I didn't have a console that I was paying $60 every year for the new Call of Duty or for
Right.
the new Madden game or this or that. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm not spending my money on other games, like I'm not really gonna be hurting if I put a few bucks here and there into buying
Sure.
stuff in League. Um, and of course, like once you get those certain characters and everything that you're playing a lot more. Like my Kazakhs that I played for a long time in League.
Right.
I wanted to have the variety of skins and be able to mix it up and have fun if I'm playing that same thing a lot. Um, but yeah, with Valorant, I don't know. I may down the road spend money, but for the
Yeah.
meantime, I not really thinking about it. Same with Warzone. Warzone's a little different. I'm unhappy with what they've done with the game. Their
Mm.
updates keep seeming to break things or add broken weapons in or have all these bugs and glitches. No anti cheat system.
Right.
Um,
That sucks so bad.
Yeah, and then like they'll ban like 500,000 accounts, but then people are just making new ones and just continuing
Yeah.
to cheat. So it's like they're not really solving the problem. They're putting a band-aid on the problem instead of going to the root and like solving it.
Mhm.
So with that, like for indefinitely, I've decided that I'm just not going to buy any stuff from Warzone either. Like they're not getting more money out of me because I'm disappointed in the product. Even though it's addictive and I'll still keep playing it, I'm just not going to spend money.
Shell into it anymore. Yeah, that
Right,
makes sense.
exactly. So,
Okay. Huh.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's hard to know what my justifications for the skins were. I think it was just frivolous spending because like there was no return on that. Like I can't get any of that back, unless I sold the account like you said, which
Yeah.
is, reasonable. Um but
And
I
also
think
against the terms of service, so Riot, we would never do that.
we would
Never.
never do that.
Never.
Also, shout out YouTuber Pleasant Kenobi. He talks about things that have a bad economy, specifically like MTG Arena, where it's the online platform for playing like standard Magic, meaning like the current rotating sets of the competitive format, right?
Yeah.
The things that like Strixhaven and Coldheim and like core sets, like that's all for the standard format. That has, well, there's like other stuff that you can do on Arena and like drafts and whatever. But the idea is like any money that you put into it, any money that you put in to get cards, it,
Do
it's
you
not.
do you have to buy the cards in that, or can you just grind?
You can just grind, but there's also obviously a pay model where you pay for gems to get packs, and you crack packs to get cards, but then also in those packs you'll get wild cards that you can use to craft any card of a certain rarity.
Gotcha.
So obviously you get less mythic rare wild cards and stuff. But what's crazy is like the wild cards, I don't think you can just straight up buy wild cards. They're
So
like,
you're gambling.
yes.
You have to crack packs and hope
Yes.
for. Oh,
It's brutal. It's brutal.
that's
Yeah.
tough. Well,
And then
they had something similar in Counter Strike. I forget exactly how it
the
works,
guns.
but with the guns and skins, like you could get like do like a random thing, and you're just essentially like spinning the roulette wheel and hoping that
Right.
it turns up on the one you want.
But then even like, all right, so let's say, all right, so the Vorinclex from Kaldheim, that was a $45 pre-order. Like people were super excited about that card, and the hype like drove the price up. Let's say you crack that in paper. If you want a return on your investment, you can take that right down to your LGS, get like 50 cents on the dollar for it, and that's like you pay $6, $4, like $5 for the pack, get a $45 card, sell it for $25. You made $20 effectively, right?
Yeah.
But in MTG, if you crack that same card, you can crack 100 of them, and Wizards doesn't care. It's not like you can go and turn 100 copies of Vorinclex into like one in paper or whatever.
There's
Like
no
there's
like
no
limit on cards. There's no rarity necessarily. Like obviously there's some artificial rarity in terms of like the what you pull, but if you're able to just craft a card by having these wild cards, then
right, but it's just like in the game. There's no equivalency to paper. So any money that you put into the system is just sunken and gone.
right.
Where as like paper Magic and I believe certain things for Magic Online, like there's a return, or on Magic Online you can just like rent cards. So even if you don't have the money to buy them, play with like in the digital format, you can pay to like rent a collection of the digital cards. So there's even more like reasonable ways to go about it for that. And the arena economy is just super I think predatory, and just like really unfortunate, especially when like the paper side of Magic is, people make their lives on it. People have
Oh yeah.
card stores, and it's a perfectly
It's
reasonable way to
super
do
super
things.
lucrative.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that like the digital side of that is just like it's basically the same thing where you're like gambling on packs. Like, I crack booster boxes and, I'm gambling there, but I have the chance of getting back on that value
Right.
somewhere. The digital version of Magic, as far as Arena goes, it's just pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that kind of that does suck because
So I don't play it at all, like, because I want to play the cards that I have here, there, but like, there's no commander. Like, yeah,
it
it's
would
just
be great if
it's
they
lame.
had a way that you could like just import your physical decks that you have into the game and be like, I
Yeah,
have these cards, and then do
they
it,
had
and
like a
then
little like scanny thing that you could like. Boop,
something,
boop, boop,
yeah,
boop,
like
boop.
to authenticate it, and also
Yeah,
people can't just make like fake. I mean, obviously, people are gonna find workarounds for whatever, but still,
right.
at least you'd be able to like have your deck and be able to play like if you could do MTG Arena with Commander and just you guys import your decks in instead of having the camera setups that you do for each person and your like board,
Yeah.
that would be like so much easier for you
Mhm.
guys to pay attention to. You'd be able to play quicker. You'd be able to like look at other people's cards that they have on the field and stuff a little more easily to see what they're like
Yeah.
without having to like Google the card to figure out what their abilities are or whatever.
Because you've watched us play, right? And you've like
Mm-hmm.
been in the chat. Like
Yeah.
you've heard it. It can get like fucking stupid
And it can be
sometimes.
hard for someone who's an observer to like even see everything that's going on.
Right, depending like on card quality and this and that, or like
Yeah, or yeah,
camera quality.
yeah, exactly. And so
It's rough.
like you guys with the app that you guys use definitely
Bell
helps.
table. Yeah.
Yes, but it would be cool. Like, I don't see why Magic doesn't have a better system for that.
Yeah. Well, it was because it was like born. It was born like it was paper forever, and it was about like sitting down and playing with your friends. But like because it's a 1v1 thing, you can do that online very easily. And yeah, they're just taking advantage of that aspect of it, and the economy is just terrible for it.
Yeah,
Um.
but I mean,
Yeah. Whatever.
I guess that it is what it is. Like, it's not going to change, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
it does
Yeah. No
suck
matter
that
what we say about it, I was just kind of like talking.
no, but it definitely does suck that there's no return on your investment there at all.
Yeah.
It definitely sucks. So,
Oh,
um,
speaking of return on investment,
hmm,
I did something for the first time this week. Went
okay.
and bought a booster box of Magic cards of a set that I think is going to go up in value. I just
And you're just
put it on
hanging
the
on to it.
shelf. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I got my PayPal from Card Kingdom. So I got
Nice. Have you been checking? Are there any cards that you can get out or like get rid of?
I haven't checked really. I need to take the time and do it, but I I honestly just haven't taken the time to go through. What I need to
Oh, sure.
do.
I was just curious.
No, I've thought about it here and there, and then when I get home, I just get caught up in whether I've been trying to like work out a bit more recently, and I went for a run yesterday. I think yesterday, yeah, and stuff like that. So it just kind of slips my mind once I'm home. But I would like to periodically check and see if any of the other cards I have are worthwhile to deal. Um,
Well, and it's also if they're like if they're buy listed on it on any sites, that means like people are looking for that card specifically,
yeah,
being that like they're out of stock, or they don't have it or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, so I hopefully I'll take some time to do that a little bit more in the near future. I would like to, but
Sure.
but yeah, that's awesome that you got a box though to just hang on to. I'm
Yeah, and surprisingly, I didn't get the meth head scratches. I wasn't like, you know what? This is probably the box that has a jeweled lotus. I'm just gonna check. You know, I'm just gonna check, and then just crack the whole thing. It's like, well, it wasn't in here,
it's
and I
bet
actually get no mythic rares.
it's better to never know.
Yeah, it's just better to never know. And like, I fully accepted that.
That's good.
I actually had to do some like mental gymnastics a little bit. I was like, that is gonna feel different. But so what I did do is buy a Strixhaven pre-release. It's like a pack of 6 cards and like a promo thing and yada yada. Um, so I could just take the box, put it on the shelf,
And then you
and like
still have
still
something.
have something to crack, and then it's just forgotten about.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I got my fix in while still being fiscally responsible.
Yeah, so like you're not like you bought a little extra to use instead of getting high on your own supply. You just bought
Exactly.
a little spare.
I actually pay myself to get high, right? Like if I want to make sure that I'm still making my cheddar back, if I want to take a gram, I'll put a 20 in the stack, right?
Right, exactly.
I bought weed from myself. I'm such a good drug dealer, I can sell weed to myself. I'm just kidding. That's not what it is. It's cards, but whatever. You get the
Cardboard
idea.
crack.
Introduce the next topic. I'm gonna go right up there and grab my bottle of whiskey. Hold on.
Cool. So one thing I wanted to mention, everyone, I know we've talked a lot about F1 and all. We're going to get into that. But I did want to mention some IndyCar results. The first race was this past weekend as well for IndyCar. And the man, Roman Grosjean, had his first race. It was very entertaining to see the little next to his name on the feed to have a little R next to it for rookie since it's his first year in IndyCar. But he had a really solid race, ended up finishing 10th out of 24. So really solid. There were a couple of guys that got knocked out right at the start from a crash, but it was pretty cool to watch. Definitely a little different. I was going primarily back through highlights and videos of it, and the way that they film it is a bit different, like the angles that they have and everything from F1. So it was kind of cool. Like you can see a bit more of the undulating of the track and how it kind of goes up and down in the hills and everything. But
Now, could you describe IndyCar a little bit? Because I don't know a whole lot about it either. Like, what's race length? Kind of what are the cars about? Kind of give me a little tutorial.
yeah, so I'm don't know a ton of it, but the cars are very similar to F1. They do have full windscreens and like instead of just the halo on F1 cars, they do have a full like windshield and screen around the entire kind of cockpit area there for the car. So a little bit safer in that sense. I believe there are some different rules in terms of like refueling. I haven't gotten super into figuring out the differences between the cars, like whether or not they are similar to F1 where cars can upgrade certain things, whether it's their aero or their their chassis or the different aspects, or if the cars are all kind of like stock the same.
Right.
So that's something I do kind of want to learn a little more about. This race specifically was 90 laps, so a bit longer than an F1 race. The winner finished in 1 hour 52 minutes, so it's a little bit longer
Wow.
of a stretch.
Where were they racing?
So this was at a track in Alabama. So this was the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama.
Very cool.
But yeah, and
Now,
so
now, what's the course like? Is it a circuit? Is it an oval? Is it a street?
so this was a circuit. It wasn't a street circuit. It's not an oval. So there was a lot of like back and forth turns. So more similar to F1. There are of course races like the Indy 500 that are on oval tracks, but a lot of IndyCar racing does have varied tracks like F1 where they have left turns, right turns, hills, different areas like that. The tracks seemed a bit more forgiving in a sense of from what I saw, there's not really as many like really sharp braking areas, like really at least on this track it didn't seem like there were any super sharp braking areas or chicanes. It's a lot more like high speed, longer runs where you can take turns a bit faster and things like that.
Was it more focus on the endurance element rather than like driving finesse? I would
Yeah,
say,
so
and I don't want to like shit on like driver skill or nothing. I'm just trying to get a sense of what it's about.
yeah, so I think the bigger thing for IndyCar is like driver ability because the cars seem to be on a bit more of a level playing field. So it's driver ability in terms of taking the racing lines, following slipstreams from other cars to get a little bit of extra speed, things like that. As far as I'm aware, they don't have any DRS or anything
Gotcha.
like that kind of help with passing. So it
They have
definitely
the infamous DAS.
they I don't believe there's any DOS in those cars either.
Sleeping, dude. They sleeping.
Yeah, but I think the main thing is yeah, really the driver's skill and being able to run clean laps, like taking the racing line and the fastest lines around the track.
Right.
Of course, there are different pit strategies. There are different tire strategies with it that will allow like so for instance the guy who came in first, he only took 2 pit stops. The guys in 4th and 5th had 3. The guy who came in 6th had 4. And then Grosjean came in 10th and only had 2. So, like, there's even with a guy taking 4 pit stops, he still finished 4 spots up on Roman. And he was only about 30 seconds ahead at the end of the race. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, so it
So what kind of pit stops are you doing then?
so I mean the pit stops
Tires
they're still
mainly?
doing
Are they
tires. I
refueling?
think they are refueling and
Okay.
can put in probably some more like water for like cooling the cars cuz you have to think when they're running these really long stretches like close to 2 hour long races, there has to be some overheating and some different stuff that they're probably working with for the engine. So probably, yeah, like
Right.
adding more coolant or other fluids for the cars during those pit stops as opposed to just being quick tires and go. So, but yeah, it's cool. I may follow it a little bit more, primarily because Roman Grosjean's in it, and I am interested to see how he keeps up with everything. But F1's still going to be my main shtick.
Right.
So
Dude, it's gonna be so funny. Like slowly in the background, it's just gonna be like racing stuff going up, like we start having like McLaren hats on, Red Bull shirts, and we're just like real lingo about it, you know?
I have thought about buying a Lando shirt. Lando has some nice gear, man.
Dude, Daniel Ricciardo has some nice gear too, bro.
True.
Dude, he's got this like baby blue like light sweatshirt, and like I really don't care about fashion. Y'all see, I literally have like a plain T-shirt on or a sweatshirt like every time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that was like that's a fresh look there, Danny.
Yeah, I think the thing I like about Lando's a bit is he has his own like branded kind of stuff with his own like the LN logo and all.
That's sweet.
And I think it looks pretty cool. So I've thought about it, but I I haven't done it yet. So slowly but surely, my behind me is just gonna start getting filled up the walls with like F1 gear.
Dude, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're coming into the fold. You know, we're emerging as full-on fans.
Yeah,
that was me coming up out of the dirt. Just
maybe we'll make our own merch just for us because I don't think people would most likely be interested in buying it, but
probably not. Dude,
we could make some cool merch.
I've thought about it. I would love to have like a tall and short of it sweatshirt,
or like I'm a big fan of
advertising, bro.
I'm a big fan of pocket tees. So like a little pocket tee with like a t-shirt with the little like breast pocket on it that has like the tall and short of it like on the pocket.
I would like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, dude, because then people would be like, "Wait, what is that?" You'd be like, "That's my podcast, G."
Yeah,
you know, and then they'll go listen to it, even though nobody listens. But they would listen if we had some advertising. I don't want to pay for advertising, but I'd pay for a shirt.
Exactly.
You know.
So, but yeah, I haven't pulled the trigger on any McLaren or Lando merch.
Merch is good, man. I mean, hell, I even bought League of Legends merch. I bought like Cloud9, TSM. Like, I have a fucking CLG mouse. Like, I don't even care about CLG, but I was like, I'll take a branded mouse. That's sick.
I'm kind of sad. My Cloud9 shirt that I had gotten back in college is like
too small.
It's tight, man.
Yeah, so is mine. It sucks.
I didn't think I got that much bigger from like my sophomore year of college, and I like definitely filled out a bit more. So it is what it is.
I hate to see it.
Brutal. I'll just I'll frame the shirt and put it on my wall, and then I'll get a new Cloud9 t-shirt.
Hell yeah. See, I mean, there's those services that do like stitch your shirts into a quilt type thing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. Like, you know, like a memory maker.
Like yeah. That. I'm not
a big fan of nostalgia though.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a drug, dude.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
I don't even get me started.
But I guess moving on from IndyCar.
Don't even get me started.
We'll get into the Imola Grand Prix.
How was it? What'd you think? Overall, first impressions.
It was a good race. I mean, honestly, there were some really competitive battles throughout. A little tough with the weather. Because obviously, well, it's tough because every driver's driving in it, so it's still competitive. Everyone still has to drive well and all, but it just makes it so much tougher on the drivers that there are a lot more mistakes, a lot more issues. I was definitely happy, though, to see that there weren't any like ruling controversies like in the first race. There were a couple of rulings that came out, but nothing like in the first race where it was kind of changing or rulings were definitively making the decision on winner and loser of the race. So
I see
Not
what you mean.
not that in the first race, like the ruling was right, but I like that there didn't have to be any rulings that were determining the outcome at that point, if that makes sense.
Right, right. I think okay. Well, just because Max got past Lewis, like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm necessarily thinking, but I'll ask you this question. If that was another portion of the race with other drivers, I don't believe it would have mattered or even be something that we focus on like moving forward. Like what if that was just a way that like Lando overtook Vettel on like lap like 57, right? Like
Well,
I like there has to be something in the zeitgeist around those two racers where it was like, "Oh, but like he got by him, like you're going to take
well,
that?
well,
You
I,
can't take that from him." But
I
it's like, yo, he was like 10, he was a whole football field off the racetrack. And people are like, what? But I mean, he was
yeah.
going to win the race.
No, it was definitely the right call to make. I didn't like it. So I guess from my perspective, I'll relate it to like other sports like football and basketball.
That's more my area of expertise, so I appreciate that.
I don't like basketball games where it's coming down to the buzzer, someone shooting, and
The
someone
ref calls
foul.
foul and no one
Yeah,
gets hit.
or just in general, I don't like it when it comes down to that play and the ref has to make a call at all. I would prefer it to just be good, clean play on both sides, and the guy either
Okay.
makes the shot with the hand in his face or misses the shot with the hand in his face to win the game. Like there's no contact, there's no issue. I'm always on the side of the play coming out where no one's having to make that split second instinctual call that can make an impact on it. I want to see good, even play from both sides and just better player comes out. And so, in that sense, like F1 did make the right call
Right.
with their decision, but it just sucks that they had to.
Well, that's
Like,
why I banned the snakes in stick fight because yeah, you're right. And now I get where you're coming from. Where I don't want to see, I don't want to see good competition disrupted because there was like a blurring of rules or a decision having to be made. You just hope that the two doing the thing decided within the realms of
right.
of good competition. That okay, that to
Yeah.
me makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't want
I
to
understand that.
I don't want to see like Hail Mary at the end of a football game, quarterback throws it up. I don't want to see there being passer like I don't want pass interference. I want whoever jumps the highest and can get to the ball and come down
Right,
with it, whether it's
right,
the defender getting an interception or the receiver scoring a touchdown. Like
sure.
I just want best man to win.
Good clean racing, man.
Yeah, good clean racing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I was definitely happy that the outcome was decided by just who raced better this time, as opposed
Yeah.
to like there being any controversy. I don't like there being the ability for there to be a devil's advocate to be like, well, if if Lewis was going off the track for 29 different laps. He was gaining 0.2 seconds per lap on that.
Right.
And so that's technically a lasting advantage. And so Max, when he had 1 lap of gaining a lasting advantage, that's just unfair. Like, I don't want that. No one wants that.
That's exactly the like angle that I was talking about. Like that doesn't make any sense to me, dude.
I don't want those conversations to happen. And so, like, yeah, with this race, I mean, even though we did, and this is something that I wanted to mention, the final standings did get changed because of some post-race rulings that were thrown in by the FIA, but it didn't determine the like winner and loser of the race, or first and second. So, but yeah, with that said, Lance Stroll did get hit with a little 5-second penalty post-race. Or
For
no,
what?
So he left track and passed Pierre Gasly. While he had left the track it was earlier in the race.
Gotcha. Was it so? It wasn't like so it's similar to no. Yeah. What did Checo do? Was the thing that he did under safety car just like scoot back up into his place?
Yeah, so a little different. This is basically the same thing as what happened with Max and Lewis, but instead of like how Max gave the place back and then tried to fight it out. Like, Lance passed Pierre off track and then just, like, held position and just kept going. That's awesome. So at the end of the race, the stewards were like, oh, yeah, like, 5-second penalty, and it bumped Lance down below Pierre on it.
Good. So Pierre was 9 then.
So Pierre did end up finishing in, I think it might have been 8th, actually. No, so Pierre got 7th. Lance ended up 8th.
Okay, gotcha.
But another one, Kimi Räikkönen got hit with a 30-second time penalty after the race.
Bro, that's brutal. When guys are finishing like so close to each other.
Well, and it went from him finishing P9 and getting 2 points to dropping completely out down to he ended up in 13th.
Yeah. Oh shit, bro.
So yeah, he dropped all the way down like a full 4 or 5 spots.
Right. That's fucking rough, man.
And so his was weird because it was on the rolling restart that they had. So after the Bottas and George Russell accident, when they had the restart, he was coming around the track, and on the lap, like the formation lap essentially, or the unlapping or whatever it was, he spun and dropped back. So instead of coming into or like regaining his position under safety car like he should have, since he didn't do that, he was supposed to come into the pit lane and start from the pit lane for the rolling restart. And so normally during the race it would be a 10-second stop and go penalty, but because either no one caught it until after the race or they ignored whatever the situation, they ended up ruling a 30-second penalty at the end.
Ooh, brutal.
So, yeah. So, Kimi, after a really solid race from Kimi, got dropped down. But he just
does it for fun. What does he care?
The Sergio one was weird, though. And so, with him... And I looked a little bit more in, so for anyone listening who didn't watch the race, Sergio Perez, there was a safety car during the rain. Sergio spun out, dropped back 2 cars past him while he was like regaining control of his car and getting back going on the track. And instead of just sitting in that new position, he repositioned himself in his original spot ahead of those two cars.
And the onboard camera, just knowing, like, as we were watching it, if I remember correctly, as we were watching it, we were kind of like, oh, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so, like, even the motion of it, the way he,
it was,
oh, wait, no, that's me.
yeah.
Like, it was so, it felt like, somebody jipping in the cafeteria.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like, hey, man, like, here's my spot in line. Got to run to the bathroom real quick. Oh, I'm back, guys. I'm back. Like,
yeah, and like, it's moved on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird, or like almost like he was like almost like an embarrassed thing, like, oops, made a mistake. Hope no one saw that. Like,
yes, we're like he face planted down the stairs and just gets up and just like, nope.
Did anyone see that? Did anyone?
Yeah,
no,
yeah, like,
we're good. No, everyone saw that.
Oh, dude, that's exactly what it felt like too.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it felt like.
Well, and so with that stop and go penalty, that was a stop and go for Sergio, right? He had to come at 10-second in the pit lane, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes,
I think so. But either the case, the penalty that that Checo ended up getting pushed him down out of the points, and he ended up not getting any points. Which
did you hear what Christian Horner said to him on the onboard radio?
No, I didn't actually.
He said, "We've chopped off your daughter's left hand for that."
Oh no, his
dude,
daughter's hand.
It was rough, man. So yeah, the stakes are pretty high for Checo Perez.
Yeah, I did see a little interview thing that said that after the race, Horner was a little bit softer with him and said that he has some good racing ahead of him. So we'll see. But man, that Red Bull number 2 driver, just bad luck.
Yeah, it's becoming like a thing.
But the other thing that I loved about this race, so with it being super difficult conditions and everything with the rain and all, Max had a perfect race. The man, I think, had one baby slip during, it might have been a formation lap, or behind a safety car where he for a split second lost control. But
that was on a hot lap. He was going for fastest lap, I'm pretty sure. And he went on a curb.
I thought it was when he was trying to warm up his tires.
Not sure, because that's why Lewis had the fastest lap, because I think he went for it on reds and fucked up a corner.
Gotcha. Well, I'm talking about he actually had not a full spin, but an actual lost control of the car for a second.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I remember what you're talking about. I thought you were talking towards the end of the race.
No. So with that, other than that little blip on the radar, super clean race, and I mean, in a race that we even saw the god in human form, Lewis Hamilton, make a mistake where you can debate whose fault it was a little bit, but he still messed up.
What I was shaking my head at was the fact that while that, when I saw that happen, there was a part of me that didn't want him to be able to get that Merc going again.
I didn't think he was going to be able to. Honestly, the rain and how it had affected the gravel, I think, is the only reason he was able to get out. Because we saw a number of drivers go into the gravel on the track and be able to get out, when in races last year, there were a ton of times where cars got on the gravel and they were just beached. Their
Right.
tires spun and they just dug themselves deeper into that gravel and were just like stuck.
Right.
So I thought when Lewis went off the track there, I thought he was out of the race. I think I said it in our
Well, yeah,
race companion.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I think Lewis is out.
And we were watching him
Yeah,
slowly fucking wrench that
and
thing
then
in
just
reverse and then get it the fuck out of there. But yeah, man. Well, I'll say check out the race companion if you want to see our live reactions to the Imola Grand Prix. But yeah, there was part of me for the sake of the championship points. There was a part of me that was hoping that Lewis was out of the
yeah.
race.
I think it would have made it more exciting in a sense that I mean, when when is the last time that Lewis has not been leading the championship? Was it like the first race of last season because Valtteri placed better or something? Like,
Yeah, I think they had a stat. I think it was 2018. I actually think they talked about that on the
or
race.
well, that I think that's the last time he DNF or he hasn't DNF'd in 3 years.
Ah,
But I think maybe race one of 2020 was the last time he didn't have the lead in the championship or in the drivers' championship or something like
yeah.
that.
And it would have been a big deficit. Like with a big DNF like that, he would have been down. Well, he would
Yeah.
have been down a full race.
Well, and that, and I mean, the fact that Valtteri, we hadn't even talked about that, the Valtteri collision with George Russell that knocked both
Fucking
of them out,
brutal, man.
it gave Red Bull such an opportunity to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, but Checo finishing poorly ended up costing them that chance. Because Checo. So the constructors' standings are only 7 points apart right now. So all Checo would have had to do was finish sixth or higher, which he seemed to be in a position to do,
Hmm.
and Red Bull would be leading the the constructors' championship. So,
Right.
but yeah, the George. Tell me what your thoughts are with the George Russell and Valtteri collision.
I
Now
think
looking back and all.
I think that if you hit somebody going 180 miles an hour and that stops dead in its tracks a pretty much free flowing adrenaline faucet that's been going for how many laps already? I can totally understand Russell's behavior, especially the way the onboard looks from Kimmy's view and of like the little bit that you can see from Russell,
Mm.
where it it appears as though Valtteri pinches a little bit
And he,
and Russell moved like over corrected.
it was a slight jerky movement from Valtteri.
Sure.
In a
Russell like reacted to.
right, and
Yeah.
that was with Russell with DRS in the DRS zone going about
Right.
230 kilometers an hour or something like that. So like
Right.
you're whatever that is in miles per hour.
Well, yeah, it's like 180, 190 miles an hour. Like George got out of that car so fast and went right over to Valtteri like they were in like soapbox cars, like just down a grass hill.
Yeah.
Like he was out of that car so fast and went over to Valtteri.
Valtteri did take a bigger hit, so he was definitely a little shook still, moving a little slower, but
Dude, I said on the pod, I was like, hot take, man, I bet he doesn't race again. Like he looked like
He was shook
shook.
up. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
definitely shook
yeah,
up.
100%.
I think, well, speaking of the way that you said it, of like full flowing adrenaline and everything, I
But you
think,
see what I'm saying? Like that, it's just
well, yeah.
stop, done.
And I think,
Like that's got to go somewhere.
right, and
Russell put it right at Valtteri.
Russell put it at Valtteri, and Valtteri just seemed to be just like almost on a crash. Like from, like, all of a sudden the dopamine is gone. He's just like,
Right.
oh.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that the ruling was right that it was just a racing incident. I think Valtteri moved a little, but George had enough space still to make it through. But George's just instinctual reaction of seeing, oh, he moved, I have to like move a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think when you're going that fast, if George, in George's mind, he's like, oh, I see him moving a little bit to pinch me. What if he keeps moving out?
Right.
Like, I have to avoid it if he keeps moving, which he didn't. But if he had, George gets pinched nonetheless.
Even harder, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was the foot on the, like, he must have put his foot on the accelerator because that's what would have spun him on the wet curb.
Yeah, tire. I think actually his tire may have gotten even onto the grass a little bit over the curb.
Even worse, it was probably soaked. It was
Yeah.
probably soaked.
So
That sucks so
Tough
bad.
one.
That was rough to watch.
It was.
That was rough to watch. I hate watching these dudes fucking run into each other, man.
I'm glad that I agree. I'm glad that everyone ended up okay, but it was a little scary for a bit. So but yeah, so I guess going through the race finish, we had Max getting the win. He was about 20 seconds ahead of Lewis. Lewis ended up fighting after
He's a bitch.
after getting into the gravel, coming back out onto the grid around, I think he was around P8 or P7. He fought his way back
P8.
up, made his way past Lando, past Charles. Lando defended immaculately for so many laps with Lewis right on him. It was like 4 laps of Lando just like...
What was it that got him?
It was just DRS. Lewis
He was gaining every lap.
Well,
he was putting time down.
So essentially, like, Lewis needed to be within about 0.7 seconds of Lando with the DRS to pass him. And so what would happen is Lewis is like 0.8 seconds behind at the DRS. He gets up to like...
Oh, and he would like just...
He would be like just behind Lando, and then Lando would just like spread the gap again over the rest of the lap to be that like 0.8 seconds again. He would just like have clean runs through all the corners and turns and all.
Well, that was the thing. Lando was racing so fucking well.
Yeah, and then it just ended up that Lewis had just as clean after like 4 laps, had a lap just as clean as Lando's and was within
and it would have been slipstream then too.
Yeah, and was only like 0.5 seconds back instead of the 0.7, 0.8 that he was, and
Crazy.
Was just able to get past him with DRS. I mean, and the Mercedes car is faster, obviously, than the McLaren by a little bit, not by a huge portion, but Lewis had the upper hand with the car, but Lando raced that so well. I was really, really impressed with him all weekend long.
Right, yeah, it's a podium.
Yeah, big podium for Lando. So we had final results for I'll do the points after the adjustments and standings, but we had Max 1. Lewis P2 with the fastest lap, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Danny Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, and Fernando Alonso. So Alpine got 3 points right there at the bottom of the points, so they're on the board.
Love to see it.
Yeah, for the drivers, it's interesting. We've got Lewis 1 at 44 points, Max number 2 at 43 points, so just 1 point back. Lando's in P3 at 27, Leclerc at P4 with 20 points, and Valtteri is sitting down in P5 with 16 now. So it Valtteri, really unfortunate situation for him to be in, especially at this point. It'll be tough to fight back, and I know we talked about it on the race companion as well, but Lewis has and we mentioned it earlier. Lewis hasn't DNF'd in like 3 years,
Right.
so it's going to be, and unless there's some big Mercedes breakdown of his car randomly, the man is most likely not going to give up the lead he has back to Valtteri, and it's going to be another year of Valtteri wishing that he could.
Just being the companion to the story.
Yeah,
Just the second driver, yeah.
he's not a main character. No, no.
But I mean, but he so is.
He's so good. It's just, yeah. You're right there.
I don't know.
I mean, Valtteri is so good, but Lewis is just a touch better and has had better luck as well in terms of the car, with not having any breakdowns or anything. I mean, the dude even finished a race last year on 3 tires. Like, even when his car does break down, he still finishes the race and wins. Like,
yeah,
dude, what
and that's what I was gonna say about the P8. Like, it's easy. It's easy to talk about how great someone is if they just keep getting P1 and racing in clean air, but watching him make up like 6 positions
every lap, he's on someone.
Yeah, like that was kind of disgusting to watch because like nobody else races like that, and you're like, what kind of tires is he on? Oh, they're the same age. Yeah. What kind of engine does he have? Oh, a Mercedes engine. There's a couple other cars on the grid that have that. Like, but he was just like, I'm getting you. It's like, how are you racing that fucking good, dude?
He's a machine.
From the front, he's a machine. Like, what's so crazy is he has so much swagger. Like, it's crazy. Like, you see him not in the car, and he's just like, oh yeah, like I'm all about world peace, and like I just want to get with Tommy and just like focus on fashion, and I love that shit. But then he's just in the car, just like fucking hammering.
Game mode on, like,
dude, like, guy's a machine. He's crazy.
And it's funny. So for anyone who thinks we're just like sucking off Lewis right now, like, we were talking mad shit on him during the race companion. We were busting his balls a little bit too. So
yeah,
and
anybody can get it, but like
we gotta even it out.
Do that, like it's hard to. It's hard to make those knocks stick against the wall because it's, dude, guy's insane. I love to see it.
Yeah, it's super impressive. The one just last thing that I did want to, I guess, mention before we move on to anything else was Max's start off the line. I know we're going back to the beginning, but he went from P3 to P1 so damn quick there. He muscled Lewis out through that first chicane. He like took the racing line and was like, sorry, Lewis, like, find your way through, bud. And just throughout the race, like, from that start, other than that tiny little blip that I said where he kind of lost control of the car for a second, which was, I believe, under safety car, so not even a real issue.
Right.
He would have been potentially coming to lap Lewis and every car on the field the way without all the other safety cars and everything. He was gapping people and putting down times and gaining these big leads, and then it's like, oh, safety car. Oh, everyone comes back. Then he's gapping everyone again. They're like, oh, red flags. He's like, fuck. And he comes back to it. He's like, and at the end, even after all of that, finishes 22 seconds ahead of Lewis. Like, he built a huge gap. What Lewis fought back through the field in the team radio, or in the radios afterwards. You hear Lewis get past Lando, and he's like, what's the gap ahead? And his pit wall is just like, Max is 20 seconds ahead. And he's like, okay. Or like, I'll get to it. And he knew it. You could hear it in his voice that Lewis knew with the few laps left, that he had no shot of catching Max other than some miracle, or Max really.
Yeah. But a dude like that, like, you don't even think about the end of the race until you're out of the car. Like, he was going to hunt Max until
he would try
until somebody like waved the flag at him, like, hey, it's over now, and he's like, all right, fine.
But like, you could hear, and they were like 20 seconds back. He almost seemed like, all right, like
Got it.
At this point, I know I'm not gonna get it, but hey, like I got all the way back up to this spot, which is
that was a great drive by him. And like, that's the thing, like, it's so hard to talk about anybody else's race except for his, because like, it was so miraculous. I was like, god damn it, dude. God damn it.
The dude makes some mistakes and still
yes, like, that would have ended, I think, of every other racer on the grid, that just would have ended the race. They wouldn't have been able to get out.
Yeah.
You know that. It would have went differently for every single car, every other racer.
Anyone else dropping 7 spots back is going to end up probably like 5 spots back at best. Like, at best.
Bro. Let alone get out of the gravel trap.
He got back to the same spot he was in.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
How
do you talk about anybody else's race?
It's like, tough. And I love Max, and he put in a phenomenal race, but
it's still not as cool as what Lewis did. Max had clean air, dude.
It's all about Lewis.
He had clean air.
Max didn't make any mistakes, but Lewis did, but he made up for it. It's like
it's crazy. It's so crazy.
It's so fun to watch, though. I
agree. I'm having a blast. I'm having an absolute blast.
Great.
Yeah. Great sport. Great motorsport. Love it.
So, all about it.
McLaren had a great weekend, though.
Big title fight between Mercedes and Red Bull, but McLaren strongly in third place. 7 points up on Ferrari right now.
Yeah.
Lando just...
But also, again, Ferrari, like, they're in the conversation, which is great to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Great to see. Yeah,
I'm happy that they're back up. Like, competitive. I mean, they're both Ferraris split the 2 McLarens.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, everybody's real competitive right now.
Yeah. So that just makes it fun. Like, it was always exciting to see the midfield. Red Bull last year just seemed kind of to be in no man's land. It was like Mercedes. It was like Red Bull, and then it was like everyone else just like spinning around each other. So there's still going to be some competitiveness with that for third. See how it shakes out.
Yeah. So far, great season. 2 races in, man. 21 to go. By the way, update. Did you see Miami 2022?
I did.
Yeah. Did we talk about that,
no,
by the way?
We didn't.
Yeah, Miami 2022.
I did see it, though, separately. But, yeah,
is that the first TNS On Track podcast?
Well,
talk about it, bro.
We
have a lot of time to plan.
June's too soon. There's a Canadian Grand Prix in June, and
That got canceled.
Oh, that's right. It did get canceled. So only
Yeah.
20 races
21, 20 left, yeah. Okay,
Because
wait, let's talk about that because I was worried when I saw that come down the pipe. I was worried that other countries are going to follow suit depending on how these next couple weeks pan out with Pandem.
I think everything else will be in pretty good shape.
Hopefully. But I'm just saying, I got worried when I saw the Canadian Grand Prix canceled.
I think it's more likely that they will restrict fans and things like that and continue racing
and cancel
as
the
opposed
race.
to canceling the race. There is
That's like millions of dollars, like tens of millions of dollars lost for everybody.
Yeah. And
yeah. Okay.
there is a U.S. Grand Prix down in Austin, Texas. But I think Miami would be the most.
I hate that track, by the way. It's boring.
It's atrocious.
Yeah, it's pretty boring. I don't like racing it either.
They literally just stole a bunch of components of other tracks and put it into one. That's literally how they designed the track.
I don't like
They stole a bunch of other like chicanes
that back half,
and
like 90 degrees. It's kind of shit.
The weird. I'm looking at it now. The back half where it's like does a little like U and then another like little like back and forth. It's not good.
Well, and that's like I'm pretty sure that's like an elevation change too.
Yeah. So not a huge fan of that track, but Miami.
Excited to see Miami.
Would love to go down and see that race live. I've never been to Miami.
On track pod.
I would love it. I mean,
oh yeah.
I've never been to Miami.
Never been to an F1 race.
I've been told Miami is a fun time. I'm sure we would have a blast. And seeing an F1 race, fuck yeah. I am in. Mm-hmm. So like I'm ready to start planning that now.
What do you think we're doing here?
Start looking for airline tickets a year out. Get something cheap.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
But yeah, so
great things coming for 2022.
Big things coming. That's going to be
Join
fun.
the Patreon. Help us get there. We don't have a Patreon
Once
yet.
we make a Patreon. Watch the vids so we can get YouTube revenue.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously. Tell your friends. Motherfuckers. Even if they don't like Valorant or F1 or League, just tell them come for the jokes. We make it family friendly. We make it...
For the most part.
Not family friendly. We make it non-fan friendly.
Yes.
We'll make you a fan by talking about it so casually.
Right. We're not big brain F1 people. We just like to watch cars go vroom.
Go vroom. Exactly.
That's all. I just like seeing cars go fast.
Like nice hair, handsome guys, fast cars. That's me.
Miami.
Oh, by the way, and this is like, this is more of me talking to you as a friend than like me being your podcast co-host. Do you see the new TMG podcasts?
I did not.
Bro, they go back to the I'm fucking gay bit in the best fucking way ever. It was being a fan of callbacks, and if you're a fan of Tall and Short of It, you're a fan of callbacks.
You gotta be.
Dude, it hit me in
and after a long time.
Right, it hits you in that way, and he's like, "I'm fucking gay." Like it was so funny, so good.
That's awesome.
So
I'll check it out.
It's good stuff.
I haven't had good opportunities to listen to podcasts with work recently. I've been on site a lot, working with not just covering and filling in, but working with the managers and helping them out with stuff. So it's like I don't have downtime to just like throw the headphones in and just nose to the grindstone, get work done while listening to stuff. So I'll
I'm not condemning you, dude. I was just
no, no,
curious.
no. I just in that say I'll have to take some extra time out to listen to it,
It's so good.
get a
It's
good
so
chuckle.
good.
I on Friday I've got my tattoo appointment.
Put the pot on for the
I've got 5 hours to kill, man. I
That's a double pod.
That's an easy way to kill some time, so that
Oh
works for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, dude, it's
Um,
super funny. And dude, and I'm Cody and Noel, here's free shill for you. If you're not already listening to it, the Tiny Meat Gang podcast is hilarious. Go check it out.
Very funny. Highly recommended.
Highly recommend. Anyway, where are we going?
Moving on, just a brief blip on the radar. I'm using the word blip a lot, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But
I mean, it's a
anywho,
good one. It's a good one.
we do have the final lineup essentially for who will be attending MSI, the Midseason Invitational for League of Legends.
Talk about the format too. How does it go? Because I don't know anything. Learn me.
Sounds good. So for the format, there's going to be a couple of different groups that are going to be playing. So group A, B, and C. Once they get through that, the top teams are going to go into another little round robin, I guess, where they'll determine placement for the knockout stages.
Okay.
So it's going to be top two teams from each group of A, B, and C will move on to the stage two.
Yeah.
The top four teams from stage two in that like round robin in those matches will move on to the semifinals, which will then play and then have the finals. So
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
not double elimination, but there's a progression of kind of slowly eliminating a few teams at a time.
Are there any show matches?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
I
that's good.
think it's hard to have show matches right now with Pandem, like
Yeah.
getting like all stars or like whatever to go as well for some show matches is probably not easy. But that's kind of how it's going to be. So we do have the groups as well. So in group one, we have Royal Never Give Up, who is the Chinese team out of the LPL. So they beat Fun Plus Phoenix to make it.
Can you do a rundown of the lineup?
Well, I'm going to go through each group and kind of with all the teams that made it.
No, do a lineup of Royal Never Give Up.
Oh, gotcha. So, give me just a second. So,
Because if our fans are like me, don't know who's playing in the other regions currently.
probably won't help you a ton either, but we've got.
Well, at least we'll get the names down here.
Yes, so we've got Cryan, who is their mid laner, Gala, their bot laner,
Okay.
Ming is their support, so that's someone who people may know from previous worlds. Wei is their jungler, and then Zhao Hu is their top laner, another name that may be known by some people. So that is their lineup. Cryan, Gala, and Wei I am not super familiar with. But the rest of the lineup I do know. Then we have from the CIS, we have Unicorns of Love making it through. So,
Fucking cis white male, dude.
So for Unicorns of Love, we have Boss in the top lane.
Nice.
We have how do I even pronounce that?
Unicorns of Love was previously a European squad. Now
They are now in the CIS, which it's something of so
it's like Russia and like the like Eastern
Russia, Eastern
European.
Europe, and so actually all 5 of their players are Russian. So
Awesome.
Boss Ahahashik,
Cool.
No Man's in the mid lane, Lodic in the bot
Ooh.
lane, and Santos in the support role.
Okay.
We've got, and then the rounding out group 1. So group 1 with the LPL being the number 1 seed in that they only have 3 teams in their group. The other 2 groups have 4 teams. So
Gotcha.
the final one is from the Oceanic League,
Yep.
which is pentanet.gg. So
Weird.
we've got Biopanther, Pabu, Chaz, Pradith, and Decoy are their
Nice.
players.
Okay.
Moving
So now
on,
who's in group two?
Group 2, the 1 seed is Mad Lions from LEC. So for their team, they've got Armut in the top lane, Elyoya in the jungle, Humanoid mid, Karzi bot lane, and Kaiser as support.
Nice. Chill over Reckless.
Excited to see primarily Humanoid, Karzi, and Kaiser. They all are fun to watch, and I'm excited to see that. The second team there is PSG Talon, which is coming from Hong Kong. So that is, I guess, the which region is this? I don't know which region this is. Am I an idiot? I might be an idiot.
Here's your sign.
Sorry. So they're coming from the PCS, which
Gotcha.
not really. So Pacific Championship Series.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that region, obviously.
I am not. I guess PCS is what. Where did Flash Wolves come from previously?
Oh, that was LMS.
So I believe PCS is the new LMS.
New name. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So they changed it.
Gotcha.
So PSG Talon. So we have Hanabi as their top laner, River their jungler, Maple their mid laner, Unified bot lane, and Kai Wing their support. So some of those names, Maple, Hanabi, and River, are probably familiar with some people. Then we have the Istanbul Wildcats, who are going to be in that group. We've got Soner Kaya as their, and this is the Turkish league, so Soner Kaya, top lane. Oh no, it's his actual name. Sorry, Starscreen in the top lane, Ferret jungle.
Isn't that a fucking transformer?
That is
Star Scream, I think.
I think it's Scream, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Starscreen, Ferret, Saren, Holy Phoenix, and Farfetch are their lineup for the Istanbul Wildcats.
Love that.
And from Brazil and Latin America, we have Pain Gaming. So little while since Pain Gaming has been back into some international play.
What was that 80 carry's name? Is he still on the squad?
Of course he is.
Yes, the best player in that whole region.
So we've got Robo in the top lane, Carriok in the jungle, Tinones in the mid lane, Tinones callback.
He played that Ari, bro.
He played the Ari. He jumped across the wall into.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure. Was it against SKT?
I think so.
I think he jumped the wall and fucked up Faker.
Hit the charm, yeah, dude. That was nasty, bro. All right, Tinones.
So Tinones is back. We've got Lucy in support and BRTT in the bot lane role. So BRTT is still playing.
That's sick, actually. I'm happy to see it. They did the whole feature on him. They made everybody a fan of him in that region.
Yeah.
And shout out Pain Gaming, shout out BRTT.
Absolutely. And then the group of death. well, kind of. We've got, as the number one seed in Group C, we've got Dom Juan Gaming Kia. I think they're
Wait,
sponsored
that
by
means
Kia.
Cloud9 is against Damwon Gaming? Damn. All right, GG North America. GG.
Hey,
Good try.
top two teams make it out of the group.
Okay.
So we'll see. But we've
Wait,
got
so that means it's DWG versus G2.
no G2 didn't make it. Mad Lions,
Uh,
man.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so we've got Damwon Gaming, so Khan in the top lane, Canyon in the jungle, Rangjun in mid, or Showmaker. They've got
Right,
two. Malrong is their substitute jungler.
right.
Ghost in
Probably
the
play Showmaker.
probably Ghost in the bot lane, and then Barrel at support.
Yep.
So
Oh, dude. And right there, everybody, is your 2021 mid-season invitational champion.
odds-on favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Cloud9, we've got
Yeah.
there. So for anyone who doesn't know Cloud9's lineup, we've got Fudge in the top lane, Blabber in the jungle, Perks in mid, Sven at 80 carry or bot, and then Vulcan at support. So
All right, all right. No bias, no bias.
the boys, no bias. Then we've got Infinity Esports. They are
That's the
coming.
title. No bias.
No bias. Fair. So we've got Infinity Esports. So they've got Bugax in the top lane, Solid Snake jungle, Cody in the mid lane,
Sick, dude.
White Lotus in the bot lane, and
Ooh.
Ackerman at support.
All
So
right. Wait, Ackerman?
Yep.
Oh, yo, he used to play on.
He played.
Ackerman was on LMQ.
Might be. I'm looking to see his history. I think.
Could be a different player.
I think it may be a different player.
That's bullshit. See, they should retire names like they've retired jerseys. You can't, like, re-buy a name. That's stupid.
I would agree. I have to. I'm trying
Check
to
it out.
see
Check it out.
if I can find any more.
Give it a goog, JMO.
I'm trying.
Shout
I'm
out
trying.
Mark Norman. Dude, I am.
Gotta hit the LoL wiki.
At the beginning of the podcast, I got an email from Massage Book saying that we got a new review from a client that I had yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, 5 stars. 5 stars. Dude, we literally have 41 5-star reviews.
That's awesome.
Nothing less than 5 stars, brother.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a
over
great
here, like,
thing.
trying not to cheese.
No, that's awesome. But at different Ackerman. So
okay.
This is his first professional team he's been on.
I hate that. Wait, am I wrong? First, am I wrong? What was the
no.
lineup?
There was an Ackerman there was another Ackerman that's been out.
He played in the NALCS.
Yeah, so it was he ended up switching his name to Godlike. He was on LMQ. So he was on Royal Club. Then he was on Royal Club's team that they sent over to NA, which was LMQ, which was...
So he stopped playing in 2015. Gotcha.
Yeah, came back to Starhorn Royal Club and then played for Royal Never Give Up when they switched names. So yeah, and he switched his name from Ackerman to Godlike, I think when he came back to China after LMQ disbanded.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So, but yes, you were correct. And then the final team, though, to wrap up the Group C is Detonation Focus Me from Japan, which is pretty cool. So they've got quite a few players, but they've got Eevee in the top lane, Steel in the jungle, Arya or Saros mid. Most likely Saros will be starting, I would think. Utapon in the bot lane, and then Gang or Kazu in the support role. So
wait, when is this?
MSI, so the first round starts, I believe, May 6th, and it's, I think, over 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, sick. Okay,
So,
cool.
yes, so it goes from May 6th to May 22nd. So, a
Gotcha.
little over 2 weeks. So, lots of games that we'll have to talk about. Stage 1, double round robin. Stage 2, double round robin. Stage 3, knockout. So,
Hell
and
yeah.
best of 5 knockout.
Hell yeah.
So,
Nice.
but yeah,
Gotta love international play.
very exciting, especially after not having MSI last year. I am pumped. So,
Yeah, same. Same, same, same.
but we have one more thing for the ladies and gentlemen listening. We have Justin's legendary Najeela deck that we're going to be talking about today.
Legendary.
So real quick, if you want to lead into that, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick.
Roger that. Wait, I actually will have to like change. Being that I'll have to change like going to the phone, do we just want to take a hard cut here?
Yeah, we can take a quick pause. That works. And we are back, everyone. Sorry for the short pause there. But now that we're set up, we're going to be getting into Justin's Najeela the Blade Blossom deck.
So this is like as close to CDH as I've been able to come. So Najeela Blade Blossom, 2 in a red, legendary human warrior, 3/2 body. So she says whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. And then she has an activated ability that says pay Wooburg, meaning a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green mana. Untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat.
Gotcha.
Aaron, do you have the deck? Do you have the deck list in front of you?
I do, yes.
Okay, cool. So, being that she has the 5-color activated ability, she's a 5-color commander.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask that because I assumed that was the case if she did have to have those to tap, but since
Yep.
she's
but she's a red creature.
right, exactly, makes it a little bit unique from some of the other commanders we've seen.
Yeah. So we have. So it's only Golos and Najeela in my 9 that are 5-color. So anyway, the activated ability means that for Najeela to be the strongest, and Najeela is technically a combo deck where the goal is to be able to generate an infinite amount of colorless mana, or not colorless mana, colored mana during combat to make combat steps over and over and over and over again and just beat down your opponent no matter how many blockers they have, because you can just generate a bunch of attackers with all those combat steps.
Gotcha.
So, how is the deck looking to win? So, if you direct your eyes to the enchantment section, there's a couple that win the game. So, there's the Song of Freyalise, which makes my creatures able to tap for mana. And the reason I can tap them when I make them is because Najeela gives them haste when I activate their ability.
Gotcha.
So I'll be able to tap those new creatures that just came in for the mana. So Song of Freyalise is one way to do it. There's also the Druid's Repository. Whenever something attacks, put a counter on it, remove that counter, make a mana. So there's multiple different ways to generate that multicolored mana during combat. Now, draw your attention to some of the sorceries and some of the cards that say search your library. There's a much higher density of cards that say search your library to go find the combo pieces. Most of the cards are low CMC. Most of them are interaction, ways to stop my opponents from winning, ways to stop them from killing my shit. So even though she's talking about like basically warrior tribal, it's built and tuned in a way that's focused on infinite combat steps and generating a victory quickly, right?
Gotcha. And so with the all of your sorceries are either search your libraries or scry and draw a card. So is this something that do you like having the scry cards in there, or is it something that you would potentially add more search your library cards if you find the right cards to replace into the deck?
I think having a couple of those, they're called cantrips, just to filter the top of your deck a little bit, set up your draws. Having a couple of those is useful to, especially in a deck that has fetch lands. So I can like scry cards away
Gotcha.
and then get a good reshuffle. So while I'm not like focused on like really using those like 1 mana like draw card scry things, that's not like part of the game plan. They are helpful as ways to like hit your next land drop for the turn, or like simple things like that. Draw into interaction, find a counter spell quickly. Like it's useful for that kind of stuff to just hit a couple cards off the top of your library.
Gotcha.
But would the deck like more tutors? Most likely. There's a couple of cards that are suboptimal for like a quote unquote like CDH build. I'll have the description I'll have the link in the description, obviously, so everybody can check it out, and you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. But I think with you having the deck, with you being able to see the deck, me talking about what the deck's supposed to do, I found often I don't really know where to go with these deck techs, and I often find myself just like kind of shuffling through the cards, not really having a reason for them to be on screen, right?
Yep.
So I came up with something that we can do on today, and Najeela is a great deck to do it on. So we're going to run some sample hands. We're going to see what's keepable and what's not, and I think it'll help you kind of get into my head a little bit as a player, and see a little bit behind the curtain of the mentality of a commander player.
Awesome.
So if you see laid out, I shuffled up a good bit. I drew 7, and in our pod to hopefully combat like not having enough mana or having too much mana, we've instated a house rule of a scry 1, so we're always able to look at the top card of our library at the start of the game to see if we should bottom it or leave it on top if it's helpful to us.
Gotcha.
So this is exactly what we want to see on the top of our library. We haven't even looked at our 7 yet, but with the scry 1, we see idyllic tutor. 2 and a white, search my library for an enchantment card, put it into my hand. So any of my win conditions are an enchantment. So even based on that scry, regardless of what's in my hand, we may want to keep this because that helps us find our combo piece pretty quickly, right? So we're going to pick up and we're going to look at our 7 here. So we have 5 lands. We have 2 of them being fetch lands, but we don't have any ramp. We don't have any way to generate a faster than turn 3 Najeela, which means Najeela swinging on turn 4, generating 1 attacker, and before that we haven't really done much. Gotcha. So I would ship this hand. We're not doing too much. Najeela can be much faster, even though we have a couple tutors in hand. They're not the kind of tutors that we may want. So in Commander, you get a free 7.
So you
After
reshuffle?
Yep. So we reshuffle. We do it the best we can. We're going to do it a couple of times. And then after that, you start what's called mulliganing, where I'll draw another 7, but I'll have to put 1 on the bottom of the deck, and I start with 6 cards in my hand instead of 7.
Okay. So
Yep.
even the first redraw, or just if you this or like this first redraw that you're about to do, can
Is
you
a
keep?
free mulligan. I'll be able to keep 7, but after
Cool.
that, I'll start dropping to 6.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Now, in the play group, we tend to just play like, hey, just do your best, find a good hand. Don't like be unreasonable. Like, don't don't abuse the rule, and nobody really has yet.
Yeah.
So we tend to, be kind of lax. But for the spirit of people watching, I'll do the regular mulligan rules. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll scry that on top. So that City of Brass, that's a 5-color land. So depending on what's in our hand, that could be super useful. So what do we got here in our opening hand? We have a mana dork, 2 lands. We have a tutor. We have a draw engine and a way to. This is technically ramp and a way to give our lands the ability to tap for any color mana. With this 5-color land on top, that means we have access to 3 lands. So this is a keepable hand.
Gotcha.
Why is it a keepable hand? Because Elves of Deep Shadow makes a turn 2 Najeela. We have a way to set up our next couple draws with Preordain. Open the Armory, can go search for the combo piece. This ramps us a little bit, and this is going to draw some cards on our way to the end game. So this is exactly what we're looking for in Najeela. Now, we found a keepable hand. Let's say we played that game out. Let's do another full 7. Now, as we're going through this, Aaron, do you have any questions?
No, not really.
Okay.
I like doing this, and it's a cool way to see kind of what you're looking for to start out to try and get to your kind of break points for your deck. So
Yeah, and like speaking about like the turn that Najeela is going to come out, like the difference between having that warrior out on turn 3 rather than turn 4 is so big. Um, so
and so
I think that
explain the main difference with that. It's because Najeela is able to create a creature or a step earlier and get more on the battlefield.
right, and once once I have like 5 or 6 swingable creatures, 5 or 6 swingable warriors on the battlefield, that's like the break point. That's when I can go. That's when I can generate infinite combat steps. As
Gotcha.
long as I have access to all 5 colors of mana, which means I have about 5 or 6 warriors on the battlefield. So when she swings herself, she'll generate me the first warrior. So I want to get to combat as fast as I can with her to start generating value. And the longer she goes without generating warriors, the more time it could be for my opponents to have creatures on the battlefield that can block her easily. Because
Right.
she only has 2 toughness, she can get killed.
And so the tutor is primarily to try and get her out as quickly as possible.
The ramp, like the mana
Okay.
dorks, like the Gilded Goose, Noble Hierarch, Llanowar Elves, those are to get her out faster, and the tutors are to go find the thing that wins the game then.
Gotcha. But what if you don't? Oh, I'm stupid. She's in the command zone. I'm
She's in the
still
command zone.
still remembering the setup. So she is, yeah. So
Yeah,
you
you're
don't
good.
have to find her from the deck. Gotcha.
Correct. So here we have access to 3 lands, land on top, no ramp of any kind, no Soul Ring, no Mana Dork, no Crypt. We have a good amount of interaction. We have a way to go find Derevi. We have no 2-drop, though. This ramps us, but not unless we have creatures. So this is a hand that I would definitely ship back and go to my second 7. Now, remember, game one, we found a perfectly keepable hand. Hopefully, I'm never going to have to mulligan more than one time. I think the deck has been pretty well tuned. Where usually when I do a bunch of test draws on my little, I have like a collection app on my phone that I can test draw my decks. usually when I do it, I get like a solid 80-20 break of like 80% keepable hands, 20% I got to ship. So we'll see what we get with this second 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll scry 1, see what's on top. So we got Shared Animosity, which is an enchantment, which helps us do some good things if we don't have access to our other enchantments. Now, what do we have in this hand? We've got 2 lands, access to a way to give Najeela haste on turn 3. So that's a consideration. We also have a way to draw cards with Mindblade Render. We also have Serum Visions, which can set up our future draws, and we have some interaction here in Psych Rift and Mystical Dispute. Being that we have 2 good pieces of interaction, a way to get Najeela swinging on 3, and a way to set up draws here, my inclination for this hand would be to say I'm going to bottom this Shared Animosity.
Okay.
And keep this hand.
Cool.
And being that this is a bit unsure, let's see how consistent the deck would be. Let's see a little bit how this could play out.
Okay.
So, just for the sake of ease of access, let's pretend that one of our opponents is playing black. The only reason I say that is we want our Exotic Orchard to be able to hit black mana. So, because it says, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. In these pods, there's a good chance somebody's playing black, especially in my meta itself. So let's play out a turn or 2 of this. So we would draw for multiplayer. That gives us access to our first land, or our third land, which is huge here actually. And I can explain exactly why. So we're going to start with this Canyon Slough tapped on turn 1. And it's going to go around turn rotation. Everybody's going to play a land. I'm going to untap and draw for my second turn. Boom. There we go. So now we have an enchantment, which is something that helps us win the game. Generate the 5-color mana that we need. So we're going to put that back here.
So was that the Song of Freyalise?
Yep, you got it.
Awesome.
So now we're going to play... What are we going to do? We're going to play our Exotic Orchard, and we're going to make a red and a black, and we're going to cast our Rushblade Commander. Warriors your team control have, hey, she's a warrior. This is turn 2. So I'm going to get in on... I'm going to swing at Ian. That's usually a good bet. So Ian just takes 2 damage. I'm going to pass the turn. It's going to go around. I'm going to untap and draw for turn 3. We got Azra Oddsmaker. That's another way to draw some more cards. But right now, we do have some good interaction in hand, so we're still pretty comfortable just playing Najeela out. So we're going to play our Windswept Heath. Now here's the thing. What we're going to do is give us access to our blue mana that we need for our interaction. So we're going to crack this Windswept Heath. We're going to pay a life, and we're going to go and grab our breeding pool. The fetch lands are so good because they get lands that have the type, so you can fix for whatever color you need, really, if your mana base is strong enough. In my 9 decks, I think this is the strongest mana base that I have, just for kind of reference. So we're going to go get a breeding pool, and we're going to pay that 2 life to have it enter the battlefield untapped. So we effectively pay 3 life to get a Najeela on turn 3. Gotcha. She comes out. Now, what that's going to do, which is super helpful, is give me 2 warriors on turn 3. I'm going to swing those, generate 2 more warriors here. So let's just do, because I'm not going to get to this card or that card, those are 1/1 warriors swinging. We are on turn 3.
And you have 4 creatures out.
4 creatures.
And they're warriors. So the next time you would swing with Najeela, if all those warriors are on, you would get 4 more, correct?
Right. With combo piece in hand and a way to protect. Right? this is the exact board state that Najeela wants to be in. Uh, Based on how our games go, I would have to hold up some interaction here. I'm probably looking at a turn 6 victory with a hand like this, the way it played out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was solid. So that was on 2 games, having to mulligan just one time going to the free 7. Now, I'm not going to beat everybody's head with this. I think that went pretty well. But yeah, that's kind of like what is going through my mind when we're at the start of a game and I'm looking across the table and seeing what's in my hand and seeing what I got to do to win. That's kind of what I'm looking at, and I think Najeela was a great deck to start on because she is more towards that higher power level, and the average mana value is so low. Where obviously I was looking at basically just like 1 and 2 mana spells in most of the slots.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's great with it being such a early turn combo that you're trying to look to do, to have those low mana costs coming in. Awesome. I really like doing the play hands to kind of give a little bit better of an idea of what you're going for, how the cards kind of work in combination. So very cool. Can't hear you yet.
Yeah, I just
There you
felt
go.
like that would be a little more engaging rather than just like shuffling through a deck of cards that you can't see and like me just kind of talking about them. I know that may have been kind of awkward for the first couple, but that was interesting and that seemed like good useful descriptions of the deck and how they play.
Yeah, I think there's some fine tuning that will happen, but as we've seen through the
Yeah, I'm
pod,
looking to get a webcam.
we're slowly but surely making improvements each week on how things go, and so I like that. I think that's a cool way to kind of look at the decks, give a little bit more insight to them and how they play out. So looking forward to that for future ones as well.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was really fun. Um, Anything else you want to hit on here towards the end of the conversation?
Um, Not really. I think we touched on some good stuff. I am Yeah, this was fun. I'm having a good week, and this was a great part of it. So that's all I got.
Nice. Well, I will say to everyone listening, we would just like to say thank you. Stay tuned for next week's episode, going live on Wednesday night and Thursday afternoon. As always, please remember to subscribe and hit the like button. Really helps out a new channel like us. That has been the tall and short of it. I'm Justin.
I'm Aaron. Later, guys.
Peace out, everybody.